Good evening, Fiifi-Manfred. Big one, of course, and then you made that big game and then you know chain. Said it was going to go on and the music, it has gone on. Game over, and then we've seen exactly how things are panning out with respect to Barca match on Atletico de Madrid. Boy, in the lead up to the game, one of the things that we spoke about, and they said, so what's your Barca? Any the distance between Barca and Atletico de Madrid? In recent times, saying your match is not gonna. Obviously, the favorite was for Barca in terms of the historical, antithesis. What's the historical evidence that we had, the data evidence that we had, and we're talking the fact said. Senema Barca in recent times, Atletico de Madrid coach friend Diego Simeone in all of the years we coach Atletico de Madrid, when Tini shall let Barca at home, whether at the Camp Nou or even at the Montjuic, he's always struggling to go to Barcelona away to go and get the win in there. We're speaking about that. But in the lead up to Samachi, now Barca caught all of the games on my ball. A little over 5 or 6 games recently. No matter drop a lot of points. The Las Palmas game, the Leganés game, the game against Sociedad Celta Vigo. Match Barca drop a point. And now I'm Atletico de Madrid for a close gap from a 10 points gap difference. And they were about a couple of 6 weeks ago, Atletico de Madrid had closed that down to get the same point with FC Barcelona. So obviously, it was a game now, and stakes here very, very high. From the point of view of Atletico de Madrid, the point of view of the history around the game, given what Atletico can do, given how Atletico have been struggling to beat Barca, of course, with Diego Simeone, and also with the fact that in the last few games, Atletico de Madrid have been consistent. So we're asking ourselves, how was it going to go on? But then also, in the context of Sadio Mane, we had also come to understand that not Barca for all of the big games about this season in Anomania results. They played against Dortmund, they were able to win by 3-2. They played against FC Bayern Munich, they won by 4-1 or so. Then of course, in the El Gran Clasico, or when the Real Madrid were winning by 4-0. So these were all games that Barca played, big games that we spoke about. So how was Hansi Flick's team going to fare against very, very top opponents? And then they went ahead and they got results. So it was a game where you couldn't really stick your neck and say, okay, because of ABCD automatic, it was always going to be exciting. Obviously, before the game, we knew our branch friend Lamine Yamal was not going to play the injury. Of course, Ronald Araujo had returned to training, but then still, he wasn't going to be part of the team. Of course, coach friend Hansi Flick, because of the last red card, he was not going to be in the dugout at the Montjuic. Barca had some slight disadvantages. Of course, Atletico de Madrid had almost everybody fit. It was the only thing that any saying thing was it going to be a branch friend Conor Gallagher or not? And at the back, was he going to retain to a branch friend Ruben Leno, man, they were showing him, and I said Jose Maria Jimenez and Odenebeba. But then just by the time a few minutes to kick off, we saw all of the possible lineup. And in fact, the main lineup for team friend Atletico de Madrid. Atletico Echo giving him with a 4-4-2 flat 4-4-2, and that looks like one of the game plans that Simeone Inzaghi edible in the big games. So Obon matches not say big games are Obon in the 4-4-2 flat. Yes, the deal is that he doesn't have enough players in the middle of the pack, and he may lose the numerical superiority because what Shabasa Tina Nabasa about 4-3-3, Casado, Pedri, Gavi, also holding. Then he was playing a 4-4-2 flat. And in the middle of the pack, he had Rodrigo de Paul and a branch of friend Barrios in the middle of the pack. Then on the wing had Marcos Llorente and a branch of friend Conor Gallagher. Also wingers, also like midfielders, but in wide midfielders, and there were wide areas now to try and do some defensive work over there. So the plan was to cut off Barca's supplies because he had kind of several times as once FC Barcelona. One of the things that they're able to do well is to go directly to the wide area. Of course, in the absence of a branch friend Lamine Yamal, Femi Lopez that slot in. And in the Atletico de Madrid for lineup was Jean Black, who was in post. Of course, in the La Liga this season, goalkeeper or the best goalkeeper in terms of goals conceded, a branch friend is Jean Black. At the back, it was a centre back pair of Jose Maria Jimenez and a branch friend Clement Longley. Now it was clear he was going to choose Jose Maria Jimenez ahead of a branch friend Ruben Noman because He's a different profile from a branch friend Ruben Norman. Now, if you look at what say Maria Jimenez in big games like this, you need a box defender. What do you mean about two ball playing center backs and then try to get control of the game? Physically, you are going to be at a deficiency. It's not Barca saying he'll be the box defender, will be with the box work, will be the clean up, and that's exactly why Abrantia, your friend, Diego Simeone or Choho, echo for Jose Maria Jimenez, and next to Abrantia friend Clement Lenglet, who is a very good ball playing center back from the back, of course. Another player and can focus on the physicality on team to the level where people expect him to be. But in terms of ball playing for your children, see a kitabon where now you play for your children. A branch of friend Clement Lenglet, excellent in that regard. He knows how to do that job. He is brilliant on the ball. He can find those passes, whether diagonal or in between the lines. Now he's able to also break plane and then break lines with children. And of course, that's why Clement Lenglet elbow with children. And of course, at fullback there was Javi Gallan on the other side. Or of course for Tima, your friend Atletico de Madrid. Then in the middle of the pack, went in with two midfielders. Up top, it was Griezmann and your brand your friend Julian Alvarez. And so Unya share Atletico for lineup now. It was clear said they were going to sit in a mid block, and in that mid block, most likely they were not going to have loads of the ball. Because they were sitting in the mid block against Barcelona. Barca will probably recycle play baby against you. They will have the ball consistently. They will pin you to the back, almost sustaining pressure. So, apart from the more lax, reactive, defensive nature of Atletico de Madrid for style of play in the 4-4-2, not normal but flat 4-4-2. We also asking ourselves, will Atletico have the intensity to get out of our blocks? No, say we need ball in deep areas. And again, usually Atletico would want to play somebody like Solo as a hold-up player. Send a bang so many ball on make sure so turning the ball over from FC Barcelona. They can go long to a solo who hold up play and then bring in either of Antoine Griezmann and Asa Brantia friend Julian Alvarez into play. But it was no solo. He was on the bench. And of course, another player has been getting goals. How was it going to be like? And I think that was a big question going into the game in terms of what Barca could have done with respect to a player coming on, whether you're going to play solo, whether you're going to have in Antoine Griezmann, who was going to be up to. In fact, once you look at the Barca lineup, you knew exactly what Adia Abrantia, your friend Hansi Flick, wanted to do as a manager. Once you saw the lineup, in fact, you knew who lineup, you could understand that Hansi Flick really wanted to go in bold, wanted to be more aggressive than Atletico de Madrid for now. Pin them down, sustain pressure, recycle play consistently, then create quality chance to beat them when they really match. Now, what Hansi Flick decided not to do is to make the game openly transitional. Because also a lot, that's the one press Atletico for now. Then they'll get a lot of time on the ball, they'll carry the ball forward, then they'll try and hit you. And of course, Simeone Inzaghi, Hansi Flick didn't want that. So essentially, he went with the bold starting lineup. In fact, Barca went into the starting lineup with, of course, Inaki Peña and Yadika Kase. For some reason, since Abrantia friend who just said me, Ebabe joining the Barca team, consistently, Abrantia friend Inaki Peña has been playing excellently well. On the ball, off the ball, saying Inaki Peña on the ball, seems to be solid. Results for FC Barcelona that put him on. Now there's confidence. He's able to play out from the back. The communication with Inigo Martinez and Abrantia friend Paul Kubasi seems to be top. On the other side, it was something that we've seen saying that Inaki Peña was really going into it. Of course, at the back is a regular suspect of Kubasi, Inigo Martinez, Balde, and Abrantia friend Jules Koundé. Now, before the game, I saw a certain statistic very, very interesting. 70 games in a calendar year. And now Abrantia, your friend Jules Koundé, about 70 games in a calendar year. No player in the world in 2024 and about the most games than Abrantia friend Jules Koundé. Into Barca Universal forecast, he is Barca times any Barca Universal for essay or the football Iron Man, of course, from Abrantia, your friend Jules Koundé, because about consistent games week in, week out. You have Abrantia friend Jules Koundé playing for team my friend in Barcelona, and he just doesn't seem to get injured. And then of course, he started in that game against team my friend Atletico de Madrid. Of course, in the middle of the pack, like we expected, we need that we're going to have in Fiifi-Manfred. Yebenya Brantia, your friend Mark Casado, Pedri, Fiifi-Manfred. What we didn't know was the inclusion of Gavi. And for me, that was the masterstroke. And I'll probably meeting Como and Shran, all the things I didn't mention, and they said the last time Ambassa Echo Atletico, Echo stop your winning run, it was Gavi, Pablo Gavi, and the ladies are charging. Now, why is Pablo Gavi an important player in a game like this? When you look at Pablo Gavi, Sony Atletico bar, there is a lot of the physicality in there, and you need somebody who will be physical. Yes, in terms of the physique and your stature, Pablo Gavi is the most combative player with just the physique, but in the intensity of the aggression, how he is aggressive, how he doesn't shy away from tackles, and also about even in the first half, he was going into certain tackles that you had to so. This is the Pablo Gavi I needed before the injury, and it was a master stroke to play Pablo Gavi in there, to add the aggression, to add the intensity of FIFA. Because when you look at someone like Mark Casado, yes, he is good with the cognitive side of the game without the ball. Short passes, diagonal. All of these things that you want from a young player of the quality and the caliber of a branch friend Mark Casado, he can give you. But then the inclusion of Gavi was the master stroke, because now you're looking at a certain Pablo Gavi who is top in terms of what you want for him with the ball. Ultimately, ball in between the lines to create chances. Pablo Gavi can do that job for you. Whilst also without the ball, when you want the aggression and intensity for somebody to lead a charge in terms of pressing and counter-pressing, winning duels, turning the ball over, and then also doing the job by being aggressive, he can do the job. And if you want Conor Gallagher is well built, more physical than him. But then he goes into battles with Conor Gallagher, not shying away from it. Again, on a barrier or someone, only you want Gallant from the wide areas. He was solid, aggressive in their faces, constantly making sure players know him. And that's one important thing. Yes, we can talk about how good of a controller Abrantia friend of Pedri Gonzalez to control the game. In terms of on the ball job, but then again, the master stroke for me was Pablo Gavi. Obviously, Alejandro Balde's job was simple because Senabasa in himself, a bedroom maybe no. Atletico de Madrid ever coagulating Fiifi-Manfred with on flat 4-4-2 without the ball in the mid block now. The 2 blocks of 4. So who going Fiifi Miensa Cramponas Atletico for more compactor. You need an extra man. So Fermin Lopez was another master stroke tactically to put in Fermin Lopez to come inside, in between the lines. So it's me able receiving ball only be with Pedri and Gavi, especially with Gavi. Se Casado in Yabodo or FIFA, so options are. There are 3 options ahead of him. He can go to Alejandro Balde, who is keeping the width on that side. Fermin Lopez, who is coming into the half space on the left-hand side, then can have Pedri, who is giving a roaming job, and then of course Gavi, who goes to the right half space, then Robert Rafinha up top, and of course all of them ahead of them, Robert Lewandowski. So more like a 3-1-6, because Jules Koundé essentially will make it the back 3, Casado ahead of them. Then of course in between the lines there are about 5 players that you have, then a 3-1-5-1 or 3-1-6. But in that 3-1-6 now, Nitia Meka say yes, Fermin Lopez important, Pedri important, but Nitia Meka say Gavi the super important player is because this system is too fluid. Sometimes it can be susceptible to turnovers and counter attacks. And it's a boss be say is susceptible to turnovers and counter attacks. And thereby is the counter press. How do you press well? How aggressive can you be? How can you be in the face of the opponent? So that we need ball, we turning the possession over. Now constantly, so when you're ball now, you'll be in their faces and then create sustained spells of pressure, recycle the play consistently, and then find a goal. And it's Oshes, the game in the first half, it was so clear. It was so clear. Say, see my friend Atletico de Madrid had got into the block anytime. And first half the day, it was all FC Barcelona. Constantly recycling play, constantly having the ball, constantly making sure they will pin Atletico de Madrid for it back. And it was an exciting time because not Fermin Lopez will pin some half space cross. You have Rafinha getting inside. In fact, Conor Gallagher dropped so deep that and then saw Babe Boa Brantia, your friend of Johan Gallant to come and help him do the job of defending on wide areas now. And I think that the game plan going into it from Abrantia and your friend Hansi Flick was spot on to use Abrantia friend of Gavi and Pedri. Then, of course, in the somewhere around the 30th minute, we saw the Pedri Porter. Excellent run from our branch friend Gavi in there. Then, of course, an assist into the part of our branch friend Pedri. And then, of course, Barca were up in there. By that time, we need to say Barca up in Quandia. Then that's exactly how things are going to look like. Because Pedri was up in there. They had played some good stuff over there. And I think there was around the best midfielder in the world with a world-class goal in terms of control. Of course, Pedri Gonzalez was excellent at it in there. By somewhere around the 38th minute thereabouts, NSR first goal nearby, and that was a good one for him. Before that, there was a big chance to Gavi or boxing, but then the header no went out wide. Of course, the ball be sounded for it with Pedri. It won't feel for him. You are rest assured of and an excellent assist from our brighter friend Gavi. Then, of course, Pedri went ahead to do some celebration with the Porter, and it was an excellent Pedri goal in there. And kudos to our brighter friend Pedri. Gavi assist also in there, and it's something I think the Barca fan have missed it for a very long time. Last season, 2 seasons ago, Nadibia se almost a Pedri Ashego assist me free Gavi. Who to say Gavi Ashego assist me free Pedri, and both of them were playing very well along each other. And this time, it looks as if it's coming down. Of course, Inigo Martinez after that game was very resolute at the back, and like I said, one other player, he doesn't get a lot of credit for Juma Oye, Branch friend Inigo Martinez. He works so hard with the ball and then without the ball for team friend FC Barcelona, and he deserves a lot of credit in there. And by halftime, Barca were up by a goal to 0, 1-0 flat, and then Barca Eddie Remo at halftime controlling the game. I think that in the first half there, it was total dominance from team friend FC Barcelona on all levels, on the ball, off the ball. They were more intense, they were more aggressive. They were in the face of Atletico, demanded more. They pushed it. They dictated the pace of the game better, and I think that was something that Atletico Madrid did very well. Of course, second half, Barca again started off the same place where they ended by the 47th minute. Now Femi Lopez in a big chance. Brentia, your friend of Jano Black are blocking it out. Of course, Lewandowski was brought down in the box, right at the edge of the box. But Barca for a penalty now. They were obviously looking out. The shots from Pedri, did go wide, and obviously Barca were not going to get to what they were looking for at that point in time. But by the first time, that was an excellent time. And so when the Barca the combination of Pedri and Gavi to get a goal was excellent. On the right hand side, Abrante Fender Rafinha was top notch in terms of what he had to do for the team and how good he was. And I think that's some good stuff from one of the best games with FC Barcelona bought this season. On the ball, off the ball, how Barca played, everything about Barca was spot on. And of course, they deserve a lot of credit for Juma Hansi Flick. This is one of the games that he played very, very well. They played very, very well for team my friend FC Barcelona. In Gats the crowd. Of course, was a good one for team my friend FC Barcelona. Handy ever draw Ketsons on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube in terms of the post-match analysis Barca versus Atletico de Madrid. Bye-bye.